All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the interview. Brittany Brown here, founder and creator over at Beating Binge Eating. And I'm here with Lauren, who just so excited to interview you. You are just a ball of light and you radiate positive energy. And I know you're going to have some incredible takeaways. Her struggle with disordered eating was pretty much her whole life. And in the last 7 years or so, spiraled into binge eating. So she has a pretty interesting history with her food. And now you're here and now you're in your power and feeling free after just 12 weeks with us. So super to have you here. I'd love to hear a little bit about I definitely want to hear where you are now, but let's go back, take us back. What was life like before you started the program?
So before I started the program, I was definitely not this shining ball of light that you just described a few minutes ago. I had a few really, really, really dark years there where I was really harming myself and my body through food. It's still really painful to actually think and talk about that time. But I kind of got over that, and I got to a point where my binges were what I considered normal and tolerable, and I was just accepting of this life where just because my binges weren't as bad as what they used to be, I considered that to be okay. And what that looked like for me was a life that was absolutely not okay. I had foods that I labeled as forbidden, and I couldn't keep them anywhere in my house because I would, eat all of it at one time, and that would spiral into eating, everything else under the sun for days. I was so uncomfortable in my body. It really impacted my relationship with my boyfriend because I never wanted to be, intimate, and I would be so self-conscious about my body at all times. I was always just living with anxiety, just fear, guilt, shame, stress, anger that I couldn't beat this. And, the worst part about that was I was living in isolation because I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody about any of this stuff. And that just added to, more of those emotions like shame. And there was just so much isolation, and, it really kept me from living my best life. And, even just going on, out to eat, I would want to plan my exercise routine accordingly. Like, how many more, workout sessions can I get in during this week just so I could go out to dinner and not feel guilty about it? That's what I considered a normal amount of binging at, a time. And just because that was better than how it was, I consider that okay. And I was living with that level of, acceptance for a good number of years. And then I had a really traumatic event happen, and I reverted right back to my old patterns, and I self-destructed with food again, very hard. And when I got back up from that, that's when I said, I can't live with any amount of pain anymore. What I was doing is not okay, because I'm saying that that's fine as long as it stays as is, even though I'm so unhappy. But this could, leave the floodgates open for some event that I can't control to just, completely derail me. And I don't ever want to be derailed like that ever again. So that's where I was. And that's when I joined the program. And where I'm at now is just the opposite. It feels so good to be free. I love going out to eat. I don't have to plan workouts. I don't have to just keep foods out of the house. I'm so much more connected to myself, and that makes me just so much more present in every interaction that I have with myself and with colleagues and with my boyfriend, with my family. I'm just so much more connected to everything that I do. It's really allowed me to just be happy with everything that I'm doing, just be really committed. And yeah, I don't hate my body. I don't feel guilty that, I just don't have the body image issues that I had. It's still, to see myself with, it's like I'm looking at myself with a new set of eyes. Sometimes it's still, I have to check myself being like, oh yeah, like some thoughts still come up, but I'm just in a place now where I've really learned to really just value myself and respect myself and love myself and honor myself. And that has just translated into just living a really happy life, but also just because I'm just happy, I don't care about the food. It's like it's funny to me that was even an issue circa 12 weeks ago. Like it's almost laughable to me that my life could be that dramatically different.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I know it can happen because I've seen it happen with so many of our clients, but it still blows my mind, because I know it's, I know for me, binge eating, my struggle with my body and food was the most difficult time of my life. It was the most difficult time of my life. And to transcend something like that so quickly and be in this place of peace and just like in your personal power is really incredible. And I'm very proud of you too, because I know you really like poured yourself into the program and doing the work and showing up on the calls when you needed stuff and contributed in the group. And yeah, it just really, really showed up, and it's a testament to like how hard you worked, and look at you now. It's really exciting. So
so much. I can't stop smiling all the time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you're so welcome. So I'm curious, what do you like in the food department? And like the food and body department, what do you feel like was your biggest takeaway or like biggest tip or thing that really supported you?
I think with the food and the body, it was just not labeling things as forbidden and actually accepting the fact that if I ate something, it didn't mean that I had to go all in and eat everything and its mother for a week and then start over, on Monday. It's really like I can just have a small amount and I don't need it anymore. It's okay. It's really just allowing myself just to know that I can enjoy things, and, food can be a really amazing part of a beautiful and it's an experience that you can really enjoy. And I used to just not allow food to really be associated with something that I could enjoy because I thought it would like take me down like a negative path. So just really knowing that I can have food and I can enjoy social occasions, have food, I can go to parties and, not worry about the appetizer table and things like that. Like that's really been the biggest takeaway, that I can actually have like a social experience with food and be present and enjoy it and actually look forward to it. So that was pretty great. But the body just really, I know it was so weird. Like I wanted this to happen so soon in the program, and it took so long for me. But one day it's like I woke up and I saw myself with a new set of eyes. I don't know. I was doing the work, like you said, and you can't force it. It just, if you do the work, it just does happen. And then I just looked at myself and I saw myself the way others see me. And that was really powerful, because this is kind of hard, but like objectively, the last few years, like my weight's been fine. And I know my body wasn't, it wasn't unattractive by conventional standards, for lack of a better term, but I still just could never see myself that way. I had just such a distorted view of myself because I was so separate from myself. And really just the program really allowed me just to reconnect with myself. And that just helped me just see myself the way the outside world sees me. And, like I said, it's still sometimes I have to check myself and be like, no, like you are, a beautiful person inside and out, like, but for the most part, it's like a default reaction now is to actually see myself the way, outsiders would see me who would have no idea that I had all this internal struggle going on. It was really cool to see myself the way others do.
Yeah. I love that. I love the expression with a new set of eyes, because it's hard to explain, because I've had that shift too. And sometimes it's hard to explain to others what that's like. And it's definitely not like forced body love. It's not like, I don't like my thighs. Yes, I do like my thighs. It's like a different, like, and you might still not like something about your thighs. Like there's stuff about my thighs I might not like, but it's just like this inner peace through it, you know? And like, yeah, it's just, for me, it's just like this beautiful, soft, loving relationship, even if, you know, no matter what comes up. So yeah, it's a new set of eyes. It's such a good example.
The funniest thing was today I was coming back from yoga, and the yoga pants I was wearing, like, I don't know why, like, I don't know if there was something on them, but as I was walking, it was making this kind of like sound like it was brushing, but it was like making like a weird, like, rubber on rubber almost. And I was like, is that the sound of my thighs touching? And I just started laughing. I was like, that is hilarious that, like, I love, like, my beautiful curves. Like, look at them. Like, I'm walking and I can hear them, like, rubbing because there's, like, something on my pants that's, like, causing this weird sound. I was like, whatever, like, all good. Like, it's just, like, there's like you said, there's still things, and I look at my body where I'm like, okay, like, that's not necessarily exactly how I want it, but then I'm like, no, it's beautiful as I am, and I feel that love for myself, and I couldn't before, and I tried for a long time, and then it just happened.
Yeah, I love it. It's that embodied change versus that like forced change where it becomes a part of who you are. Yeah, it's and it's so different for everyone, but like doing the work can really, really have it happen. So okay, so I'm curious, you know, I know that you have had your journey with different facets of your relationship with food. I know you've tried a lot to break free. You know, I know you've tried so many things, from like more conventional routes to diets to like all of it. What do you feel like made our program different, you know, different than therapy, different than diets? Like what had it be that thing for you that really, like, in my eyes, just returned you back to you know, like got you connected with your power?
You know what it is? It's a couple of things. So the first, like, people talk about a lot, so I'll mention it too, is that the problem is never the food. It's always something usually a lot deeper. And when you work with maybe other practitioners who are amazing, and I've worked with some amazing ones that did great work, it's just they didn't fully understand the binge eating aspect. So, for example, you know, I worked with a couple people who really tried to restore my relationship with myself and, you know, loving and, you know, accepting myself fully as I am, but I would still go home and binge. And it's every time I binged, I would be separate, like, you know, I'd separate myself more from myself. I'd be more disconnected. So I would make it harder to accept myself when I was further disconnected from myself because I just binged again. So it's not that they weren't doing, you know, the right thing. It's just, I think that there was a disconnect with them fully understanding like how deep this can go with a lot of people. And it makes it so much easier to really get to those issues and work on loving and accepting yourself fully. In my example, once the binge eating is out of the way. So I know a lot of people, and yourself included, talk about why this program is so great is because it kind of is like, no, like, I understand how awful binge eating is to your, you know, your whole being. So let's, you know, get that taken care of first, and then, you know, we'll work on the other stuff. And so that was for sure what really helped me, is that I could stop binge eating so I could do anything else. Like, I literally felt if I could stop binge eating, I could take over the world. So I was like, I need to get that habit kicked, and then we'll see what happens. But the other thing too is that I think with binge eating, there's so much isolation and there's so much shame around it. And since there's so much shame and isolation, you don't talk to anybody. It's all just this really, really, really unbearable private issue. You know, like, I hid it from everybody, including, you know, my boyfriend. And I told him before we moved in together, because I was like, hey, there's something you got to know about me, you know, like, it's, it gets a really, you know, shameful thing that people experience. And because of that, I think that since they don't talk about it, they feel that they're so far gone, you know, that they're damaged beyond repair, like, you're broken, like nothing can work. So you don't really necessarily go into working with someone fully trusting them. But with this program, it's like, no, you are this beacon of light who has felt everything that we felt and have, experienced everything that we're still experiencing. So I think like it made it a lot easier to trust the process, because we had an example of what it can be like. It wasn't just, for example, like a therapist who hasn't ever dealt with this telling me to work on, loving and accepting myself fully. It was someone who could actually, provide with a concrete example and a roadmap that I felt like I could trust. Because for me, it was like I tried a lot, but I couldn't, it didn't work. And with this, I felt like I could trust it because you understood the isolation and, everything that I felt, it's like you felt it too. So, I was very open to the program and where it could take me.
I love that. Well, I'm glad you felt that safe space with us. And yes, I think I can't imagine working with someone who hasn't actually, like, who doesn't know what a binge feels like and like what an urge, or like what the morning after a binge feels like. There is nothing worse than like waking up after a binge. Yeah. And then I'm curious, so that feeling, you're like scouring the internet, you're looking for answers, someone might have just stumbled upon this for the first time because they Googled something, whatever it might be. What's your words of wisdom to someone who's just like out there looking for answers, feeling those decades of shame and things like that? Yeah. Any words of wisdom?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that I was alone. I thought that this was something that only I dealt with, and I was just living in so much shame and guilt and anger and resentment at myself for just not being able to beat this for years and years and years. And it's like that just added to all of those emotions, because I felt like I was failing myself because I was trying to beat it and I couldn't. And I was like, this has to be easy. People diet all the time. Like, why can't I just not binge eat? So I really felt like I was alone. So my advice to anyone who's finding this, you're probably feeling the same thing and you're not alone. So many people are struggling with this, and it's a shame that people don't talk about it more. And the best thing that ever happened to my life was finding this program, because it really made me feel connected. It reestablished the connection to myself, but just knowing that there are so many other people all over the world that I could, share this connection with to really help each other grow and heal. That's what really like sealed the deal for me, is that I didn't want to deal with these emotions on my own anymore. And I wanted to deal with it with people who understood it. So it's just knowing that this behavior, it sucks, and how you feel after is the worst. You just don't have to go through that alone anymore. If you choose to live differently and you don't want to live in the amount of pain that you're currently in, if you've reached the max level of pain that you're in, you don't need to feel that anymore. You don't need to be alone. There are people and programs like this one that are really, really supportive. And the whole point is to help you live your best life by not binge eating anymore. So if you found the program and you're looking to, end your suffering, like, this is the place to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such an important message, just people realizing that they're not alone and there's solutions. Like, the hardest thing for me is if I get off a call with someone and they're like, I'm going to take some time with this and then like try it on my own. And I'm like, fully respect that decision. And like, I always just say, like, you don't actually have to anymore. You don't have to do it on your own. Like, why not partner with, the organization, but also the women in our group are so epic and supportive. And it's just like, it takes that shame away immediately when you hear someone and they like share the same exact feelings that you feel. It's just like, whoa, like other people are doing this, it's just such a magical thing. So thank you for that. This interview has been beautiful. I know everyone's going to learn so much from it. Curious, like, any last things you want to add, anything you want to say before we kind of wrap up for the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just like that level of isolation that I felt. I couldn't ever imagine living like that again. And just as soon as I joined the program, within 10 seconds, I felt lighter. instantly by like 10 pounds, just because that weight of just being alone and being in that shame alone, just it lifted. It was such a profound experience. I remember the first time I got in the Facebook group and I read through a bunch of posts and then I posted, I felt like I lost 10 pounds. It was unbelievable. It's just, you don't need to be alone. And I don't know why anyone would want to go through this alone, like to try to beat it on your own. Like, you spent however many years binging and being alone. Like, I didn't want to do this alone anymore. So that was the most amazing thing. And I'm just really grateful, to you, the other coaches, the program, because I'm living my best life. And it's like, I've never been here before. And that's the coolest part, is like, I've never had days where I didn't stress about food in my body. And it's just really, really cool to be living my life like I've never known it could be. So it's really awesome. It's just, you have to really, want change to happen, and, you invest in yourself, you're investing in your future, like your best life.